This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. I'm Sean Moody. Rebecca and Bill have the day off. It's 6:30, Monday, January 11th. Now at 6:30, an officer-involved shooting in Scott County overnight sends a man to the hospital.
He was the definition of artistry and pushed the envelope before it was a popular thing to do. I'm Don Champion in New York, looking back at the incredible life and career of David Bowie coming up.
And a man whose gun killed a Kentucky 8-year-old says it just slipped out of his hand.
And we are well below freezing. And you got to go into the teens to actually see these numbers. We're at 11 degrees now in Lexington. We're 14 now in Somerset. And then that takes you in towards your afternoon. There you go, 29 degrees. Bitterly cold air. We want to talk about the snow and how it's going to impact you for tomorrow, coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Mike, thank you. New this morning, one person was rushed to the hospital after being shot by police in Georgetown overnight. Happened around 2 o'clock this morning on North Hamilton Street off East Main Street. That victim was rushed to UK Hospital. WKYT's Mark Barber is live there to give us more details. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Sean. There's no word this morning about how seriously that man who was injured in this officer-involved shooting is hurt. Now, Georgetown police do tell us that he is stable. They think that he was shot several times. Now, we've been speaking with officers this morning, and they tell us that the man was shot because he was armed with a gun and he was threatening police. Now, this happened around 2 this morning after police were called to a home on North Hamilton Street for what is being described as some sort of domestic situation. When police walked into the home there, they tell us that they found a man who was armed with a gun threatening officers. That's when we're told an officer fired, hitting the man.
It's too early in the investigation to know exactly at what point the subject was struck or fired, but we do know that he did have a firearm and that threats were made.
Now, there could be a number of witnesses who might know at what point that officer did fire, because investigators tell us that there were several family members inside that home during the shooting. Now, we have also learned that no officers were hurt in the shooting. Now, police this morning tell us that they still have a lot of information to work through, a lot of details to delve into as far as this domestic situation that brought them out to the home and as far as the actual shooting itself. They say they still have a lot that they're looking into, and they're hoping to release more information to us sometime later this morning. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
All right, Mark, thank you. Monday is off to quite a cold start. This morning we do have some school closings and delays to pass along to you. Scott County is closed today, along with Grant County and Owen County. A couple of school districts are also operating on a 1-hour delay. We've got closings at the bottom of the screen and more at WKYT.com. Meanwhile, a group of volunteers here in Lexington is going around the city checking on people without a warm place to stay. WKYT's Mike Byer is live now to tell us how you can help. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Sean. While we're fighting these dangerously cold temperatures, the Catholic Action Center is fighting to keep our homeless warm and safe. This is where the Compassionate Caravan comes into play. It consists of a group of volunteers who have one common goal: to help the homeless. Each group of helpers takes along blankets, scarves, hats, gloves, and coats. They then find those in need, giving them supplies for the frigid nights and also offering them a ride to a shelter. The Catholic Action Center also has added a new phone number for the Compassionate Caravan line. This is where people can call if they see someone who needs warm gear or needs to get inside to a warm place. All the caller has to do is give the location of the person in need. Once the call is made, the person will be checked on within 12 hours. Now, we have that number on our website at WKYT.com. Volunteers say you can call or text it. Live in Lexington, I'm Mike Byer, WKYT.
Mike, thank you. We are tracking a breaking news alert this morning. Influential singer and songwriter David Bowie has died at the age of 69 in London. In a statement on his Facebook page, his family said he passed away peacefully over the weekend after a long battle with cancer. Don Champion takes a look back at Bowie's iconic career.
Ground control to Major Tom.
David Bowie was a creative and artistic force. Born David Jones in London in 1947, Bowie fell in love with music at the age of 13. In a 2002 interview with CBS News, he explained how he decided to make a career out of music.
I mean, until quite late in my teens, I didn't know if I was going to be in music or if I was going to be painting. I kept going vacillating backwards and forwards, and I opted for music eventually.
Bowie rocked his way onto the scene with the legendary hit Space Oddity in 1969. Years later, his artistic expression pushed the envelope with the album The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. With it, Bowie created the androgynous alter ego Ziggy Stardust. As a publicity stunt, he even claimed he was gay. Bowie saw much of his success in the 70s and 80s, including his hit Fame. Over his 40-plus year career, Bowie released 25 albums and even acted in several movies. His latest album, Black Star, was just released on Friday, which was his 69th birthday. Bowie's artistry still shined through. I'ma take you home. Married to international model Iman, Bowie was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1996. In a Facebook post, his family said he died after an 18-month battle with cancer. Don Champion, CBS News, New York.
British Prime Minister David Cameron called Bowie's death a huge loss. Tonight, family and friends will gather to remember a Lexington teenager who was murdered over the weekend. The candlelight vigil for 18-year-old Caleb Hallett is tonight at Gardenside Park. Police say Hallett and another man were shot while in a car on University Avenue on Saturday morning. The coroner says Hallett died at the hospital. So far, police haven't arrested anyone in the case. Hallett is the third person to be murdered here in Lexington just this year. Meanwhile, family members of another Lexington murder victim are calling for an end to the violence. Police say 28-year-old Joseph McDowell was shot to death on Roosevelt Avenue on New Year's Day. He had an 8-year-old daughter who had to say a final goodbye at his weekend funeral.
It's my generation. These are people that I grew up with that are killing these other people. And we have to realize that we all have kids now. And these kids are looking up to us. And if we keep on doing this, this is what they're going to think that's okay. And we got to do better for our babies. We have got to do better for our babies.
Police haven't made any arrests in that case, and they haven't released a motive for the shooting either. One of Lexington's 3 murders of 2016 did lead to an arrest. Today, Donald Rourke Jr. will be in court for a preliminary hearing. Police say he shot and killed 28-year-old Corinne White outside an apartment on Red Mile Road back on January 3rd. White's family says the 2 men knew each other. New on WKYT this morning, a Kentucky State Police trooper is accused of showing up to work drunk. Antonio Robinson is charged with DUI. State police say the trooper smelled of alcohol when he showed up to training on Saturday morning. Robinson's only been a trooper for 2 months. In Louisville, a man says he regrets shooting an 8-year-old to death. Police say Andre O'Neill died Saturday night while at a babysitter's house. Elgin Andrews says he was taking the gun that killed the little boy out of his pocket when it slipped out of his hand.
On the floor, ricocheted, fired from the revolver from the back of the hammer. It's fired and it hit him. We took him to the hospital. I'm holding him. He was talking for me in the car and everything. Well, moving for me in the car, showing us something responsible. And I guess when we got there, it was over.
No charges have been filed in connection with Andre's death. In Wolfe County, deputies are still looking for 2 men accused in a weekend shooting. It happened yesterday on Quillens Chapel Road near Campton. Deputies say the 2 victims pulled over on the road when 2 men in a red 4-door pickup pulled up and started shooting at them. They hit one man in the hip and the other in the leg. Both of them, we're told, are at Kentucky River Medical Center in Jackson, where they are expected to be okay. The father of 2 men injured in a hit-and-run last month in downtown Lexington says both of his sons are still in the hospital. William Hockaday says his son William is now in a critical care unit at UK Hospital after having his left leg amputated. Hockaday says his other son Clarence is waiting to have surgery. And police say Aziel Iraola Lavaco crashed into the 3 men on Midland Avenue last month. He's facing DUI and other charges. Several threats at Kentucky schools over the past few months have education leaders working with police to figure out the best way to prevent them. The Kentucky Center for School Safety says there have been more than 50 threats since a threatening graffiti message was found in a bathroom on the Eastern Kentucky University campus back in October. Students have made all the school threats since then, and most of them have been near planned breaks. The individual school responses have varied from lockdowns to dismissals. The Safety Center is working on training sessions to educate leaders across the state. Students at an Eastern Kentucky high school are stepping into the national spotlight. The group of 7 students from Betsy Lane High School in Floyd County designed a concept for a phone app. It's called EnviroScanner, and the app is meant to educate people about the outdoors and alert them to possible danger. It also features a safety monitoring system. That concept was named Best in Kentucky, and the group finished in the top 50 in the Verizon Innovative App Challenge.
Most people just think that we're this backwater school that don't know much about everything. It just makes me really proud to be from Betsy Lane.
That group has moved on to the regional competitions, and if they win there, they will move on to the nationals. You can vote for that app from your phone. We've got the information on how you can do that at WKYT.com. Let's check how traffic is moving this morning. Here is Officer Don with live drive traffic. Morning, Don.
Hey, good morning. Right now, it looks like we're okay as we get a wide shot of overall traffic flow. And don't see any problems on the interstate on 75 or on 64, which is the great news. The exit ramps seem to be holding their own. I tell you, on our drive times, we can see slowdown zone. That's great because people are being a little more careful for the icy spots this morning. We see that coming in from Madison County across the Clays Ferry Bridge. It's taken about 32 minutes. From Nicholasville, it's a short hop, 13 minutes. And then from Winchester, we're actually down to 30 minutes now, so things are looking a little better on US 60 and on 64 coming in from Clark County. We'll keep you up to date throughout the morning. Now back to you in the studio.
Don, thank you. 6:41 on your Monday morning. We got more news from WKYT this morning on the way. You probably know by now that there was no winner for that big Powerball jackpot. We'll take a look at one man who came awfully close to that cash prize when we come back.
And, you know, I was let down. However, nobody else won, so I was actually pretty excited. I get to do it all over again. Cold temperatures this morning. We're pretty calm and quiet today, but tomorrow, not so much. Here comes the snow, and I'll show you that coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
We're at 11 degrees right now on the Mountain Parkway over towards the Slade area. If you work your way down the Mountain Parkway, everybody's sitting there in the teens. It does not feel good. On Facebook right now, I'm looking here on one of my updates. Frank Medford, there you go in Winchester, 11 degrees. If you, Connie Kimbler, there you go, 15 degrees. You guys are throwing out these temperatures, man. They don't sound good to me, okay? But you know what? Just the messenger. You got to do what you got to do. 11 degrees now in Lexington. We're at 10 as you're working your way in the capital city. We go through the day, and look, through the day, we'll come from the single digits and teens. Sean over there is doing Facebook right now, live at this moment. Somebody over toward Fort Knox across 65, 4 degrees this morning. That's not a good feel. We get into the afternoon, we're in the 20s. You know what? Some may actually top off right around 30 degrees. I think far south, southeastern zones, that's probably the best bet. Nonetheless, if you're at 27 or 30 degrees, you're not going to feel that difference. It's just going to be pretty chilly. Bitterly cold temperatures today, tomorrow, and off towards your Wednesday before we actually get back in the 40s Thursday and Friday. But snow will impact us tomorrow. There's no doubt about it. Northern zones looks like about 4 to 7 a.m., so just before the sun rises, just before rush hour as well. And then it gets into the central zones, I would say anywhere roughly rush hour, okay? So we're talking anywhere from 5 to 8 a.m. in the central zones. Then you go down toward the south and southeast, you're talking 9 to about 11 a.m. That's the timing on it. We get another system come toward the weekend that we could get a little bit more snow. We've talked timing. Let's talk totals. How much accumulation are we expecting? This is probably the map you want to see, okay? North of Lexington, I-64 northbound, we'll have the best shot at picking up an inch or even better. You'll get some bursts of snow, and it's just like the past few times where some will pick up a little bit more than others. I think the farther south you go, better likelihood of actually not having accumulation. However, I do expect most of us to actually see some flakes. Over toward the east-southeast, I think this is a little bit low there on this computer model down toward the southeast. The rest is pretty good, anywhere from an inch, maybe even 2 inches north of I-64. But down toward the southeast, you may even swing out an inch down toward the mountainous regions as well. So it's a light snowmaker, but it's the first one we've had when school's getting going during the week. So this is going to be one that official superintendents are going to have to watch tomorrow morning, waking up 4:30. Superintendents, get up early and check this out along with those teachers and those parents to see if you actually have a school day tomorrow or not. The good news is November and December was not bad. So if we do have a school day tomorrow, it's not going to hurt us that bad, as we only have a couple more months left to actually have the snow. It takes you off into March, really. But nonetheless, we do have a first alert severe weather day tomorrow. That's just because of the impact of this snow tomorrow. But once again, I would say I-64 northbound, that does include Lexington, around an inch tomorrow. And it's really through the day, Sean. I think it starts off during the morning hours, but the bursts of snow actually come later in the morning to early afternoon. So it's just one of those times they're going to have to make a call. Luckily, I don't have to make the call. I just kind of say, hey, here's what to expect, and it's in your hands now.
Yeah.
Because a lot of parents say, Micah, can you give a school day tomorrow? Can you just say it's going to be 18 inches tomorrow of snow? But, you know, some parents will say, actually, don't even say a word.
Yeah.
I need my kids to go to school. I need a little free time, okay?
No blame or thank yous to Micah.
There's never. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting tomorrow morning. We'll be waking up with some, especially in the northern zones, seeing some snowflakes flying around.
All right. Thanks, Micah.
You bet.
You might be disappointed with that cold forecast. You also might be disappointed that you didn't win Powerball, but one man's frustration really has gone to a whole new level. This picture was shared on the site Imgur. This guy had a Powerball ticket that was just one number off on each of those winning numbers on Saturday night's drawing. Instead of 16, he had 15. Instead of 19, he had 20, and so on. A man's name isn't on the site, but this ticket was sold in Illinois. That is gotta be just frustrating as can be. It is 6:48 on your Monday morning. We'll have more news when we come back.
Coming up, a look at the career of legendary artist David Bowie as the music world and fans mourn his death. Plus, we're at the prison where El Chapo is being held with details of the Mexican drug lord's secret meeting with Sean Penn. More real news coming up on CBS This Morning, next.
Coming up, cruising is the latest in car technology. Chris Van Cleve on the DOT's latest requirements for all new vehicles. That's a story you're only going to see on CBS This Morning, coming up here at 7 o'clock. If you're just joining us, breaking news from overnight, rock and roll legend David Bowie has died. Long before it was commonplace for pop stars to have alter egos and wild outfits, there was David Bowie. He shocked the music world with the 1972 Ziggy Stardust and Spiders from Mars album, and one of music's most famous personas. Bowie died of cancer at age 69. British Prime Minister David Cameron tweeted that Bowie was a, quote, master of reinvention and a pop genius. At the Cincinnati Zoo, a penguin was just named Bowie, actually, after it was born on the rock legend's birthday. The zoo says the penguin was the first baby animal to be born in 2016. Now, the zoo considered naming it Elvis because the two musicians share a birthday this past Friday. Since the zoo already had a penguin named after Elvis, the winner was Bowie. One person was rushed to the hospital after being shot by police in Georgetown. It happened around 2 o'clock this morning on North Hamilton Street off East Main Street. Police said they went to that house for a report of a domestic disturbance. Once inside, police say a man pointed a gun at officers and made threats. That person was then shot by police before being taken to UK Hospital. Police say at least 2 other people were inside the home at the time. Nobody else was hurt. There are several school closings and delays to talk about this morning because of the weather. Included is Scott County, which has canceled school for today. We're also tracking another blast of cold air and snow for tomorrow's morning commute. Remember, you can track that with us and get the latest forecast by downloading the WKYT Weather Plus Traffic app for your smartphone and tablet. In a story fit for Hollywood, the notorious drug lord known as El Chapo is back behind bars and could be headed to the U.S. in a few weeks. Mexican authorities have notified Joaquin Guzman that he is wanted in the U.S., which is one of the first steps in the extradition process. While he was on the run, Guzman had a secret meeting with actor Sean Penn, in which police say played a role in his capture. Jury selection begins today in the trial of Caesar Goodson, the police officer who drove the van that carried Freddie Gray before his death. Gray arrived at the police station critically injured in Baltimore after he was driven for 45 minutes, handcuffed, shackled, and unrestrained in the back of that van. Goodson is facing a second-degree murder charge. The world's biggest lottery prize is up for grabs on Wednesday night. The Powerball jackpot is now an estimated $1.3 billion. That's so high that most Powerball signs can't actually display the huge payout because they aren't made to register into the billions. The biggest stars of film and television came together in Beverly Hills last night for the 73rd annual Golden Globe Awards. Chris Martinez has more on the night's big winners.
And the Golden Globe goes to The Revenant.
The Revenant won top honors at the Golden Globe Awards, taking home the statues for Best Picture, Drama, Best Director, and Best Actor, Leonardo DiCaprio.
I want to share this award with all the First Nations people represented in this film.
I can't believe this!
Brie Larson took home the award for Best Actress in a Drama for Room, while Jennifer Lawrence won Best Actress in a Comedy for her performance in Joy. The Martian won top honors for Best Picture Comedy and Best Actor in a Comedy, Matt Damon. But it was Sylvester Stallone who earned among the night's most thunderous applause, winning Best Supporting Actor for his reprisal of boxer Rocky Balboa in the movie Creed.
I want to thank my imaginary friend Rocky Balboa for being the best friend I ever had.
The Globes also honor the best in television, and this year, for the first time, streaming services like Netflix garnered more nominations than cable and broadcast networks.
Amazon's Mozart in the Jungle took home 2 Globes for Best TV Series, Musical or Comedy, and Best Supporting Actor.
Relax, I'm going to try and be nice.
Often controversial comedian Ricky Gervais returned this year to host the awards broadcast, and actor Denzel Washington was honored with the Cecil B. DeMille Lifetime Achievement Award. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Beverly Hills.
It is a whopping 10 degrees early this morning. It's just cold. That's just the way to put it. And that's exactly what I put on Twitter this morning, Micah Harris WX. You can find me there. I just put cold and just put a little graphic for you. So there you go. You can retweet that. Going in toward the afternoon, we're at 29 degrees. Still going to be very chilly. You'll need the big coat this morning. You'll need it toward the afternoon, too. The good news here is, yeah, some sunshine. That's exactly what we need when you have 20s outside. You get into the afternoon and overnight, yeah, and things really start to become pretty chilly. Let's talk about your snow start time tomorrow morning. By the time we are here at 6:56, we'll have some snow starting all the way in the northern zone, Sean, and then it slides south and southeast. Around an inch for some, especially central and northern zones. Down toward the southeast, it looks like you could have about a coating to an inch. So there is that chance to have accumulation tomorrow.
All right, Mike, thank you. Thank you all for joining us. Nobody is more up to date than you to start the day. CBS This Morning is next. Remember, our next newscast is mid-morning coming up at 10 a.m.